Welcome to Adu Globe. Discover new ideas, learn exciting things, and be amazed every day. At the very start of the video, we reveal a shocking strike. Ukraine targeted a Russian Buyan-M warship, known for carrying Kalibr missiles. A drone hit left the vessel in chaos, forcing its crew into retreat. This dramatic event sets the stage for a full breakdown of what really happened, how it unfolded, and what it means for the ongoing war. The Sea of Azov is a key battleground in this war. On one side sits Russian-controlled Crimea, while to the east lie the occupied parts of Donetsk. This narrow waterway is not just a supply route but a constant flashpoint. Every Ukrainian strike here puts Moscow's grip under pressure and reshapes the fight for dominance in the region. After suffering repeated setbacks in the Black Sea, Russia adjusted its naval strategy. Several warships were relocated into the Sea of Azov, a narrower and more sheltered route. From here, Moscow began launching Kalibr cruise missiles, hoping to reduce vulnerability to Ukrainian attacks. But this shift also turned Azov into a new frontline, making every strike a test of Russia's adaptation and Ukraine's persistence. In June 2024, Russia carried out a major coordinated strike using the Sea of Azov as its launch point. 4 Kalibr cruise missiles were fired, targeting Ukrainian cities and critical energy facilities. The attack caused significant damage to infrastructure and left many regions in partial blackout. This strike showed how Moscow was using Azov not just for defense, but as a springboard for high-impact offensives. Ukraine's Navy spokesman Dmytro Platenchuk openly mocked Russia's strategy. He explained that Moscow shifted its fleet into the Sea of Azov because they believe it is safer than the Black Sea, where heavy losses crippled their naval power. But his warning was sharp. They think Azov is a shield, but for us, it's closer, more reachable. This statement underlined Kyiv's growing confidence that distance is no longer Russia's greatest defense. During these same days, intelligence confirmed that 9 Russian warships were stationed in the Azov Sea. This was one of the heaviest concentrations of Russian vessels in that area since the start of the full-scale invasion. The buildup showed Moscow's desperation to maintain strike capability while avoiding direct exposure in the Black Sea. Yet for Ukraine, this massing of ships so close offered both a threat and an opportunity, turning Azov into the next flashpoint. Almost a year earlier, Ukraine's military had predicted that Russia's safe zone in the Sea of Azov would not remain untouchable forever. By mid-2024, that forecast was no longer theory, it was reality. The stage was set for a bold strike that brought new Ukrainian units into the spotlight. This transition revealed 2 key players: the HUR's Department of Active Measures and its elite combat wing, known as Primary, or Ghosts. Their mission: to expose Russia's illusion of security. These units launched a 2-stage operation that combined precision strikes with psychological warfare. The Department of Active Measures crafted the larger strategy, shaping timing, deception, and information control, while the Ghosts carried out the direct assault. Together, they turned planning into execution, proving that Moscow's gamble in Azov carried heavy risks. The operation not only hit hard but also signaled that Ukraine's reach extended deeper than Russia ever expected. The first stage of the strike was carried out by Ukraine's elite Ghosts unit. Their task: to blind the Russian warship before any missile could be launched. Using fast, low-visibility drones, they locked on to the ship's radar systems. The MP2312 navigation radar was the first target, followed by the 5P26M 1-inch positive M1, a vital component of the vessel's air defense network. Disabling these sensors meant the ship would be effectively sailing blind, unable to track incoming threats. Once the radar systems were compromised, the Ghosts shifted into the next phase of their plan. Without functioning eyes, the ship's crew was left disoriented and exposed. This tactic turned advanced Russian technology into dead weight, making the vessel highly vulnerable. The precision of the strike proved not only Ukraine's growing skill with drone warfare but also how modern conflicts depend on controlling information and detection. A blinded warship, no matter how armed, becomes an easy target. With the radars disabled, Ukraine's second strike team stepped in. The HUR's Active Measures Operations Unit launched another wave of drones, this time aiming directly at the warship's hull. Swift and precise, the drones dove toward the vessel in coordinated attacks. Each hit shook the ship, rattling its crew and damaging its stability. This escalation showed that Ukraine wasn't just blinding the ship, it was dismantling its ability to remain in the combat zone at all. Shortly after the hits, HER released official footage confirming the attack. The location was identified as Temrik Bay, near Kerch. The damage was serious enough that the Russian vessel had no choice but to abandon its duty zone and retreat to safer waters. The operation was both a military success and a symbolic blow, exposing the vulnerability of Russian naval power in the Azov and Black Sea regions. Ukraine's message was clear: no harbor guarantees safety anymore. Although the Buyan-M warship did not sink, the attack left it critically vulnerable. With its radar systems destroyed, the vessel became exposed to any future drone or missile strikes. A ship without eyes cannot fight, and this reality forced the Russian Navy into a defensive stance. Instead of a victorious frontline asset, the Buyan-M was now reduced to a floating liability, incapable of detecting or countering threats effectively. Reports suggest the crew, no more than 36 sailors, was forced to abandon active duty on the vessel. Faced with repeated Ukrainian drone strikes and lacking radar protection, the risks were simply too high. Survival outweighed mission orders. Eyewitness details show crew members evacuating in haste, highlighting the growing fear among Russian naval personnel when confronted with unmanned drone warfare. The Buyan-M now faces a long and costly future. Without immediate dock repairs, it remains a sitting duck. Even if taken into dry dock, the extensive structural damage and destroyed electronics would require months, if not longer, of expensive reconstruction. Military analysts suggest the Kremlin must decide whether to invest heavily in repairing the vessel or quietly scrap it altogether. Either way, Ukraine succeeded in neutralizing an expensive and symbolic asset. Ukraine's HER officially described the ship as damaged and withdrawn, deliberately avoiding the word sunk. This careful phrasing underlines the broader strategy: psychological warfare as much as military action. By forcing Russian assets out of the Azov Sea, Ukraine has shifted the naval balance and proven that no vessel is truly safe. The Buyan-M's retreat will be remembered less for survival and more for humiliation. The Buyan and Buyan-M class vessels are not mass-produced warships, their numbers remain limited within the Russian fleet. This scarcity makes every unit valuable and any damage strategically significant. Unlike larger destroyers or cruisers, these ships were designed for regional dominance, operating in seas like the Caspian, Black, and now Azov. Their small fleet size means that each loss or withdrawal is felt deeply across Russia's naval capability. In terms of design, Buyan-M ships are compact. Measuring only around 75 meters in length, they lack the imposing size of traditional warships. Their limited speed, roughly 25 knots, means they cannot always escape fast-moving threats. Their endurance and sea range are similarly modest, built for operations close to Russian-controlled shores rather than deep ocean missions. These limitations reduce their survivability when faced with persistent drone and missile attacks. Still, their importance lies in what they can launch. Despite their small frame, the Buyan-Ms carry Kalibr cruise missiles capable of striking targets hundreds of kilometers away. This long-range offensive power is what makes them a strategic threat, even if the ships themselves are vulnerable. In the naval balance, a single Buyan-M is not just a ship, it's a mobile missile platform. And every damaged or sidelined unit directly reduces Russia's ability to project force across Ukraine. The Buyan-M is not just a small ship, it is heavily armed for its size. At the front sits the A190,000 100mm naval gun, capable of engaging both sea and coastal targets. For close-range defense, the vessel relies on the AK-630M rapid-fire gun, designed to counter incoming missiles, drones, or small boats. Together, these weapons allow the ship to defend itself while supporting offensive missions, making it more versatile than its compact frame suggests. Beyond guns, its real power lies in missiles. The ship carries 8 Kalibr cruise missile launchers, giving it long-range strike capability across Ukraine. For air defense, it uses the IGLA-1M SAM system mounted on the 3M47 Gibka turret, while heavy machine guns cover close threats. Modern communication suites and sensors tie all this together, enabling the Buyan-M to operate as both a defensive shield and an offensive missile platform in Russia's regional naval strategy. The loss or withdrawal of even one Buyan-M corvette carries weight far beyond its small size. These ships are among the few platforms Russia has that can launch Kalibr cruise missiles at long range. With their limited numbers, every unit counts. Taking just one out of service means Moscow has fewer launchers available, directly reducing its strike capacity against Ukrainian cities and infrastructure. For Ukraine, each damaged Buyan-M is not just a tactical success, but a strategic victory. Russia cannot replace these ships quickly. Building advanced missile corvettes takes years, skilled labor, and shipyard space already strained by sanctions and war demands. Each Buyan-M withdrawn for repair or potentially scrapped shrinks Russia's long-range strike network. This is why Ukraine celebrates not only when ships are sunk, but also when they are forced into port for lengthy repairs. Strategic impact here is measured not only in destruction, but in lost capability over time. In March 2022, early in the full-scale war, Russia showcased the striking power of its Buyan-M corvettes. According to the Russian Ministry of Defense, one such vessel launched a full salvo of 8 Kalibr cruise missiles in a single operation. This was publicized in official footage, carefully framed to highlight the ship's role as a precision strike platform. It sent a message that even small corvettes, when armed with Kalibrs, could deliver long-range attacks deep into Ukraine. In March 2022, early in the full-scale war, Russia showcased the striking power of its Buyan-M corvettes. According to the Russian Ministry of Defense, one such vessel launched a full salvo of 8 Kalibr cruise missiles in a single operation. This was publicized in official footage, carefully framed to highlight the ship's role as a precision strike platform. It sent a message that even small corvettes, when armed with Kalibrs, could deliver long-range attacks deep into Ukraine. The Kalibr cruise missile has become one of Russia's most important strike tools. Moscow frequently claims that the system has a range of up to 2,500 kilometers, suggesting it can threaten targets deep into Europe. However, U.S. defense assessments and many independent analysts place the practical range closer to 1,400 kilometers. This major gap shows how performance figures are often clouded by politics and propaganda. Technically, Kalibr is a sea-launched cruise missile designed for versatility. It can be fired from corvettes, frigates, and even submarines. After launch, the missile flies at low altitudes, using terrain following to avoid radar detection. Its navigation is based on a mix of satellite guidance, inertial systems, and terrain matching, allowing it to maneuver around defenses and strike with high precision. One distinctive feature of Kalibr is its pop-out wings, which unfold mid-flight, giving the missile aerodynamic stability over long distances. This design reduces drag and helps maintain accuracy across extended ranges. The missile is also designed to carry different warhead types, from high explosive to potentially nuclear payloads, depending on mission requirements, making it a flexible but controversial tool in Russia's arsenal. There are even reports, from open-source analysts and think tanks like CSIS, that some Kalibr variants may feature a supersonic terminal phase, accelerating in the final approach to overwhelm defenses. While unproven in combat, this claim adds to the missile's psychological weight. Whether or not it truly performs as advertised, the myth of Kalibr's reach and speed plays a major role in Russia's deterrence strategy, blurring the line between military capability and information warfare. In early 2022, the Russian Navy launched Kalibr cruise missiles against a military barracks in Mykolaiv. The strike caused significant casualties among Ukrainian soldiers and highlighted how Russia used these ship-based weapons to project power deep into Ukrainian territory. In July 2022, a Kalibr strike devastated the central district of Vinnytsia. The attack hit a commercial and residential area, killing dozens of civilians and injuring many more. Images of burning cars, shattered offices, and destroyed apartments spread worldwide, fueling outrage and accusations of deliberate terror tactics by Russia. Ukraine's naval strikes have already written history in this war. In April 2022, the pride of Russia's Black Sea Fleet, the cruiser Moskva, was sunk after being hit by Ukrainian Neptune missiles. This single event shocked the world, as a flagship-class warship was lost in combat for the first time in decades. It also proved that Ukraine could challenge Russia's dominance at sea with homegrown missile technology. Just months later, in June and July 2022, reports emerged that the Buyan-M corvette Veliki Ustyug had suffered damage. Footage showed the ship being towed along the Volga River, suggesting it was no longer combat-ready. Though not as dramatic as the loss of Moskva, this incident highlighted that even smaller, modern missile ships were vulnerable under Ukrainian strikes. The strikes continued into 2024. In April, the Serpukov, another Buyan-M class ship, reportedly caught fire after a suspected Ukrainian attack. By November, Ukraine escalated further with a daring drone strike on Kaspiyusk naval base, damaging 2 Jeopard-class frigates and possibly another Buyan. These repeated hits show how Ukraine has turned naval warfare into a contest of surprise and attrition, steadily eroding Russia's fleet. In the current phase of the war, Russia has intensified its use of drones and missiles, launching frequent barrages against Ukrainian cities and infrastructure. These waves of attacks aim to exhaust Ukraine's air defenses and create constant pressure on civilian and military targets. Yet, despite the heavy firepower, many strikes fail to achieve decisive strategic results, often leaving destruction but not changing the overall battlefield situation. Ukraine has responded with a different approach: targeted naval and strategic strikes that directly threaten Russia's fleet, bases, and critical assets. By hitting fewer but more valuable targets, Kyiv is applying counter-pressure on Moscow, forcing it to spend resources on repairs, relocations, and constant defense. This duel of quantity versus precision is shaping the current balance of the conflict. In the aftermath of Russia's massive, 600-plus drone and missile strike, Ukraine once again became the center of the world's attention. That night, the scale of the attack shocked even those already accustomed to heavy bombardment. Dozens of drones and cruise missiles rained down on multiple cities, with Kyiv suffering the heaviest impact. Independent media and international agencies reported that at least 23 civilians were killed, including 4 children, and many others injured. Apartment blocks, schools, and basic infrastructure were damaged, leaving behind a trail of destruction and grief. For residents of Kyiv, the night was described as one of the darkest since the start of the war, with air defenses overwhelmed by the sheer number of incoming threats. The event not only illustrated Russia's determination to keep up pressure but also reminded observers of the devastating human cost carried by ordinary Ukrainians. Yet, while Russia unleashed this large-scale assault, Ukraine demonstrated that it too could project force far into enemy territory. On the very same night, Ukrainian forces launched precision drone strikes against Russian energy infrastructure. Reports confirmed that both the Kuibyshev refinery in Samara and the Afipsky refinery near Krasnodar were hit. Video evidence shared on social media showed bright fireballs and columns of smoke rising from industrial sites deep inside Russian territory. These strikes highlighted Ukraine's evolving capabilities, not just defending against hundreds of missiles, but also retaliating with carefully chosen targets designed to disrupt Russia's war economy. Damaging refineries serves a dual purpose: hurting fuel supplies needed for military operations and sending a symbolic message that Russia's hinterland is not beyond reach. This interplay of massive Russian attacks and Ukrainian counterstrikes reflects how the war has escalated into a cycle of pressure and response.